plant light is off, but there's still a little bit of purple mixing in here, including, I think there's been some changes to the Walmart smart bulbs. Yeah, see, even that looks kind of purplish on camera, but it's actually really bright blue versus the ones from 2018 or so that are actually blue. And I understand that telling the system to turn these blue turns them this color, but telling them to turn them navy turns them this color. Set all lights to navy.
Got it. Changing 10 lights to navy. Sorry, it looks like the first side light isn't available right now.
Still see a little bit of purple mixed in. Thank you. I still see a little bit of purple mixed in. Interesting.
I'm here to help.
Well then, some stuff has... Well, I don't see any more purple in the mix. At least the camera doesn't. Well, folks, the Delosaurus will make a nice... Oh, I see purple in there again. This will be interesting, folks, because the smart bulb technology, even the cheapo stuff you can get at Walmart, has changed in the last few years.
The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
Well, isn't this a little surprise with the lighting and what it can do? That little hidden desk lamp that I've had in the shelf for a while to make pictures of the computer look more dramatic. Except now it looks like a really weird Instagram filter. Well, unfortunately, cameras see things differently than people, so I'm gonna have to do some fiddling around to see what I want to do with this setup here. So yeah, either the Geekhouse Dark Mode smart bulbs that I've been using since 2018 are getting a little dim in their old age, or there's been a skew change and the newer smart bulbs are actually brighter than their predecessors. The shape is definitely different. It looks like this bulb is actually physically larger, and heat-wise, it feels like it's giving off a little bit more heat, but yeah, it's definitely giving off more heat. So you can feel it down by the heat sink on the bottom of this. So, creaky chair and everything. So here's what happened. One of my smart bulbs was flaking out on me. It kept dropping off of the network. So I went and bought what I thought was a replacement. I mean, the packaging sure hasn't changed in the past couple of years with these Merkury Innovations Walmart-y smart bulbs here. However, once I turned it on, I was like, that is very, very different, and the blue is a lot brighter. One of the criticisms that I've had of these smart bulbs is that they're not really all that bright when they're displaying colors. They're brighter when they're displaying soft white light. And I figured the LED array was kind of weird like that. I've been kind of jealous of some of these streamers with the newer setups and brighter lights that are able to get more color going in their setups, whereas, you know, I've been trying to supplement my lights, like that one over there, with like extra lights like that, or with light strips or something. But if I can do Geekhouse Dark Mode with just bulbs, that would be awesome. Just gotta see what it looks like. So needless to say, my curiosity got the better of me, even though this looks kind of purple. It has plenty of blue to go around. I'm now curious what the entire house would look like with all of these. Plus, it's probably just about time to do a refresher, load the bulbs into the sockets, and then nuke them off the network, and then set them all up. So we got some smart bulbs to deal with, except for I wasn't paying attention to the look-alike packaging, and I accidentally bought a smart plug for indoor-outdoor, so no. Good thing I kept the receipt. That's going back. Let's fiddle with some bulbs now, shall we? So here's the starting point of all of this, with the old lights doing Geekhouse Dark Mode and the new light turned off. So basically, this Geekhouse Dark Mode thing all began as basically a gaming setup that I was working on. It was actually part of Geekhouse 5S. I called it the Blue and Black Attack back in 2018. I basically made the decision that I'm on the blue team, my color is blue, and everything was going to be blue and black as much as possible in this house, so there'd be a color theme to everything. And of course, I planned on getting these lights that everyone was playing with, whether it was LED strips or smart bulbs and stuff. So I decided to try some out. Today, though, they seem like night lights. I don't know if they've dimmed or anything, but the new bulb is definitely brighter than these are. Maybe it's because it's incorporating a little bit of purple into the blue, but I'm legit curious now, especially with some of the gaming setups that I've been seeing on Twitter, with some of the algorithmic stuff with computers and retro gaming that's being pushed my way. I just couldn't help but wonder, with the curiosity about all of this, what would a whole Geekhouse Dark Mode worth of these new lights look like? We're actually, because I'm short on bulbs, because I accidentally bought the wrong thing, gonna retire the side lights. I'm actually curious if I can get the lighting that I'm looking for with less bulbs, because of how much brighter these new ones are. I got a feeling I might not need little desk lamps filling in all the dark spots where the current bulbs don't reach. So the network part of this is going to be pretty difficult because the MAC address is going to be changing on all these bulbs. So we're going to have to go into the router and for the MAC tracking and stuff like that to watch for network drops and stuff. We're going to have to change out what addresses are associated with what physical lights and stuff along those lines. There's got to be a lot going on off camera, which is one of the reasons why I do tech videos and not tech streams, because number one, there's going to be a lot of downtime that you probably would want to skip anyways, and also for those of you that are sensitive to flashing lights, smart bulbs when they're in pairing mode blink, either fast or slow depending on what mode it's in. So you probably, if you have reactions to flashing lights, you probably don't want to be playing around a lot with these things. First, though, I want to get some kilowatt numbers for these new bulbs versus their predecessors. One of the things I've noticed is the LED arrays have been upgraded to the point where these things can do daylight if you tell the system to set them to gray, and actually put out a decent amount of light. So it's really cool. So, alright, let's see what we got. When this thing's running full blast blue, which it currently is right now, what does it have here? And we're going to compare it to the old bulb, because I got the other bulb ready to plug in for here. So, let's see, 3.8 watts. It probably draws more when it's in soft white mode. So we'll just say just below 4 watts when doing color. I'm guessing it probably doubles when it goes to white mode for soft white. This is daylight, by the way, so it's going to look different. So this is white, which is basically soft white, which is pretty much yellow when it blasts all the LEDs at once. I don't understand, if you're going to be playing with smart lights, how come white can't just be daylight? Let's see here. About 10.5 watts. I think this is basically what the draw was on the old bulbs. So we have brighter bulbs, and wait a minute. Let's get the old one in on this. I think it's a little brighter because the bulb is a little bigger. And that's really the extent of it. Of course, I can turn these all off and see what brightens the room up more. Let's try that. Alright, the TV's the only light now. It's the only way I can see what I'm doing here. Alright, so let's first try the old bulbs with the second side light. Yeah, that's not that bad. It's kind of like turning on a 40-watt bulb or so, though it's supposed to be a 75-watter. How much brighter is it when we swap it over to this one, though? It looks like the light goes a little further. Yeah, I'm looking around at what's lit and everything in the room. And yeah, the light definitely goes further. This is definitely an improvement. Let's compare wattage of old versus new. So we had 10 watts for soft white, and we had like 4 watts-ish, depending on how many primary colors you got involved. We might want to do blue versus navy. Let's do that. Set the new first side light to blue.
Okay, changing the new first side light to blue.
That's what it already was. Set the new first side light to navy.
Okay, changing the new first side light to navy.
Ah. It's based on the brightness and the number of primary colors involved. So, and then when everything's full blast, it's 10 watts. That's basically what we had earlier. So what this thing is using for blue probably includes some additional colors besides just the blue LEDs. That makes a lot more sense. Set the new first side light to green.
Okay, changing the new first side light to green.
Or not. Set the new first side light to purple.
Got it. Changing the new first side light to purple.
Set the new first side light to gray.
Got it. Changing the new first side light to gray.
Turn off all the lights.
Sure. Turning 13 lights off. Sorry, it looks like the first side light isn't available right now.
Because it's disconnected. Thank you. Alright. So gray with these new bulbs, we can turn this back on now. Or we can turn it off and back on now. It'll keep its previous color. There we go. So gray with these bulbs actually gets them into daylight territory. And it's lower watts. We can turn the other one back on, which is brighter and does more to light the room. Yeah, 5 watts out of 10 when it's, because it's probably not using the yellow LEDs or whatever it is in the array. But yeah, you can technically you can set these to so-called gray and use them as like spotlights or something, because the gray for these bulbs is actually daylight. It is more cold daylight than the actual daylight bulbs I'm using over there. Those are actually yellower than telling this thing to display gray. So that might be something maybe photographers might be interested in or something, with how you can manipulate the light with the LEDs in this thing. But we're not going to be running them as fake daylight bulbs. We're going to be setting them to blue. And so we have our colors here. Let's compare the colors on the old bulb one last time before we start setting these up around the room and making them the new Geekhouse Dark Mode lights. We're also going to eliminate the old ones from the system, so there isn't too much in terms of reserved MAC addresses and too much data on the router. We're only going to use the ones that we're actually going to use. We also got to make sure that there wasn't a mix-up with the SKUs of the new bulbs coming from Walmart. I made sure that the model number matched and bought all singles, but yeah, not so. It might not be the case with this. Then again, I might be worrying about too many fine details here, because the first round of smart bulbs that I bought was in 2018. There's been plenty of time for the technology to modernize. Slight difference in the size of the globe. It's a little bit bigger on the newest one. But yeah, it looks like the 21 versus 2008. What the? Why is someone riding a motorcycle at like 2 in the morning? I used to think that, doing videos at night would help with, the motorcycle noise, but who knows in today's world. 2008 versus 2103. Oh, this is a replacement I think that I got in 2020. That's why I don't have an 18 in there for the date code. Interesting. Let's put the old one in and compare numbers. Back to the old bulb before we get to the fun stuff. When it's in soft white mode, aka tungsten yellow, 9.4 watts. So around the 10 watt mark, and we're talking like fractions of a watt for the differences between these two. Set the second side light to blue.
Sure. Changing the second side light to blue.
1 watt. Set the second side light to gray.
Alright, changing the second side light to gray.
That is not gray. Set the second side light to blue.
Alright, changing the second side light to blue.
Set the second side light to navy.
Okay, changing the second side light to navy.
Set the second side light to blue.
Alright, changing the second side light to blue.
Thank you. Interesting. So there is a little bit more power draw with these bulbs, which gives me more of a reason to want to use them. Yeah, to use less of them. Of course, we might not need as many of them if they're giving off more light. Or we can actually set the intensity down to something below 100% if we really wanted something like that. How blue do we really want to make this room? So yeah, this is something I was telling my dad about, because he's like, oh, the fancy lights, and I'm like, yeah, well, when those fancy lights are displaying colors, it's only 1 watt per bulb. Although, of course, they do kind of function like night lights in that case. What did we have again for the other one? 1 watt to just under 4 watts. Well, that would explain why the light has gone up a bit. Do I really need to nitpick over this? I might just need less lights. Alright, let's make the swap. Okay, to verify that I'm getting all the bulbs that represent the new SKU change, as we open all these bulbs up, we're going to put them in here, and we're going to set them up, and we're going to test them versus the one we already know is different. There's going to be a lot of noodling around on a smartphone, and fortunately the router is right there, so hopefully we can set it up rather easily in terms of pairing everything up and putting them on the network. Definitely can see more now, and I can also see more purple. My concern with too much purple is that I don't want to look like I'm trying to be a Twitch streamer or something. I don't want to beg people for money and then cry about how nothing's fair on Twitter or whatever. Definitely an increase in the brightness. Let's get the other two swapped out and see if it doesn't turn into some kind of purple overload or something that just looks weird with... a mixture of, the colors and the white light is actually pretty good for these kinds of things, but it looks like the camera just can't handle it. We're going to have to do a dry run with the streaming gear just to make sure that we're not changing out all these lights for things to get worse. What's interesting with this whole light bulb thing is that when I was really little, I tried unscrewing a light bulb from a lamp in my room, and I had like no motor skills whatsoever, and my fingers got down around the electric socket and I got electrocuted. And I've always been kind of nervous about, putting light bulbs in and out of lamps ever since. You'd think that all these decades later I'd be less timid about it, but I don't know. Of course, I know electronics and electricity and other stuff now, so let's set this one up. Alright, this is definitely brighter and bluer than before, and I'm still seeing the purple halos from these, even though everything's all the same color. That doesn't change if I turn the plant light off. Let's see what happens when we switch everything to navy. Setting everything to navy doesn't fix the problem either, and even turning off the LEDs and stuff, I thought it was a conflict between two different blue lights that were slightly different colors of blue. But no, it looks like just there's purple involved no matter what. Oh well, we'll have to see what it looks like with the streaming stuff. Maybe I need to deal with some key lights or something now, instead of just having this do everything. I don't know, I think this might be screwing with me. I think I might want to cut the brightness on all these fancy bulbs. It's just weird with blue lights lighting the house to the point where I can see everything. Whereas before it was kind of like, haha, it's blue. But it's kind of like when LEDs gave way to HILEDs, high-intensity LEDs. Yeah, it's that all over again. Big, big difference. I suppose there's only one way we're gonna really be able to find out whether all this was worth it. Well, let's make like we're gonna stream and see what it looks like with the streaming gear. Well, what I saw in the camera viewfinder was obviously trying to show me something here. Oh, this is crazy. Yeah, so you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that Harris Heller video where he took that super cheap camera off of Amazon and was like, what does this make me like? And it looked like this. It's like super trippy purple overload, like you think I was going lavender or something. I just can't make myself look like a normal person no matter what it is that I do here. So here's where we go from here then. We know that these lights are brighter and they also use more power when cranked all the way. What if we turned everything down for streaming, basically, but had the option of turning up all the blue lights when playing video games? So we already have Geekhouse Dark Mode. I should probably make a Geekhouse Stream Mode. Let me just see let me see if I'm onto something here. So we went from 1 watt bulbs when displaying blue to almost 4 watts. Cut it down to 25% on everything. Set all lights to 25%.
Okay, setting 8 lights brightness to 25%.
There you go.
It looks like 2 lights aren't available right now.
And the lights... Thank you.
Just doing my job.
So you see a little bit of blue from these lights. Now you have blue halos around the edges of everything, but everything's a lot darker, and it's a lot closer to what I normally look like when streaming. Of course, I could always home in these settings and get some white light going at me to light me up like this. But it's good to know that, you know, if I want to turn up the lights and actually go around and walk around in the house with all the blue lights going and there's no cameras, then that would be fine. Let me see here. Yeah, if I go into cold mode and I get smurfed, but I got smurfed with the old lights too. So basically, well, I guess we should probably go back to the project area and look at the kilowatt and see, you know, did we drop everything down to 1 watt or something like that. So the good news is we can replace the bulbs if the bulbs mess up, flake off the internet, whatever it is. And because we don't really need, you know, because we don't really need all of the brightness that these bulbs come with these days, so we don't look like a giant acid trip or whatever. Set all lights to 100%.
Setting 8 lights brightness to 100%.
It turns everything lavender.
Lights aren't available right now.
Set all lights to 20%. Might as well try that while we're at it.
Got it. Setting 8 lights brightness to 20%. Sorry, it looks like 2
Can we go
lights
lower?
right now.
Set all lights to 15%.
Sure. Setting 8 lights brightness to 15%.
Yeah, just mess with the color.
It looks like 2 lights aren't available right now.
Set all lights to 25%.
Sure. Setting 8 lights brightness to 25%.
This is a little too purple, so I think we're doing 20%. Set all lights to 15%.
All right. Setting 8 lights brightness
This looks good.
to 15%. Sorry, it looks like
It doesn't look like the new lights are a thing, though. Set all lights to 20%.
Okay. Setting 8 lights
I think this is what we're gonna go with.
20%. Sorry, it looks like 2 lights aren't available right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
So, hard lesson learned from all of this. So, it's not just about the power in the lights, it's about where the lighting is. So, obviously, I need to bring back the side lights in order to light up these dark spots here and make them a little more blue, but I don't need to be running the bulbs at 100% brightness, which means they'll run cooler, and basically I'm running them at... It's kind of like when you build a gaming PC and you set it up so that the computer can run the fans at like 50% or lower and still cool the computer, so you get a quieter system, but it still has enough airflow to stay cool. So it's just one of those things. Or, you know, if you use water cooling and stuff along those lines. But interesting. Yeah, so let's go check the kilowatt numbers back in the project area with regards to all of this. But I can still see some purple mixing in. Let me just see what the plant light's doing in all of this. Turn off the plant light.
Okay, turning off the plant light.
So you see. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Jay.
So I'm getting purpley stuff mixing in with the blue, even when the plant light's off. So the plant light can point more directly at the plants now. Stop trying to light stuff up in the back, because if I turn up the brightness on these, things will start turning purple a little more. Or I could have the routine set everything to navy. Let's see what that looks like. Set all lights to navy.
Okay, changing 8 lights to navy. Sorry, it looks like 2 lights aren't available right now.
Get turned purple again. Set all lights to 100%. That's probably what it already did.
Got it. Setting 8 lights
Purple
brightness to
haze.
100%. Sorry, it looks like 2
It is
lights
kind of like a nightclub with the lighting, but it's too much. Set all lights to 20%.
Sure. Setting 8 lights brightness to
That's not bad.
20%. Sorry, it looks like 2 lights aren't available right now.
Thank you.
Just doing my job.
Well, I guess this really, this gives us our marching orders on how to proceed with lighting. It's not that I need more blue in the back, it's that I need to light myself properly in the front. So, and it looks like we're gonna switch over to Geekhouse Stream Mode and have it set like this. And in Geekhouse Dark Mode, you know, well, we can just switch between them. I mean, it's kind of like how I used to have dim mode and dimmer mode on the old light mode setup. And I also have movie mode, which shuts off all the lights in the front and runs minimal lights in the back to make it kind of like watching a movie in a theater. So it's not to say that I haven't experimented with stuff like this before. This stuff is pretty fun, man. All right, I guess we have some things to program now, don't we? Let's go back to the project area and check the wattage. If we want to match the old lights, our target wattage when doing blue is 1 watt. Yeah, anything green, it's like glow in the dark with this. You know, we've crossed over into full-on nightclub with this setup, even though it is kind of ridiculous in terms of light. Let's get some regular light going, because now we actually need it, because smart bulbs have gotten to the point where they can be too much of a good thing. Alright, so this one was what again? This is one of the new ones, right? Yes. Let's put this one in here, and let's experiment. I think this is the new first side light, or whatever it is. And look at all these old bulbs. What am I going to do? Oh, I'll keep them around for, like, something else, or, you know. No. I wonder if there's a way we can, like, turn off the smart sides of these things, and then set them like that. Alright, this goes up to 4 watts. So we want to cut the power by 3/4, I'm guessing, to get it down to the 1 watt mark. Let's see here. Set the new first side light to 25%.
Sure. Setting the new first side light brightness to 25%.
That's about it. Set the new first side light to 30%.
Sure. Setting the new first side light brightness to 30%.
Set all lights to 30%.
Okay, setting 9 lights brightness to 30%. Sorry, it looks like the second side light isn't available right now.
Hey, we still see purple with this, though. Interesting. Switch to Geekhouse Dark Mode. Oh, we got birds.
Got it. Changing 5 lights to blue. Sorry, it looks like the second side light isn't available right now.
I gotta get that off the system.
Okay, setting 5 lights brightness to 100%. Sorry, it looks like the second side light isn't available right now.
Crap, that's the only bulb I didn't take out of the
Setting 5
system.
lights brightness to 100%. Sorry, it looks like the second side light isn't available right now.
Okay.
Geekhouse Dark Mode activated.
Thank you.
I'm here to help.
Well, the only good news regarding that missing second side light is that it's the only one of these bulbs that's still going to be blue. So it'll be real easy to find. Alright, so yeah, it looks like we need a Geekhouse Stream Mode to go along with Geekhouse Dark Mode in order for, because cameras can't handle all this blue. Not this, and definitely not the webcam. But if we do that setup where we hook up an old YouTube camera that I'm not working with, that has, you know, something like that. Anyways, if I set up one of those, which I've been meaning to do for a while, so I can repurpose YouTube video cameras, so to speak, for streaming, then we can take a look at how it handles the light and see if it's a blue overload with that as well. But as it stands right now, we've gone full nightclub in here. You ever watch, like, people IRL streaming in nightclubs and stuff, and, like, you know, the lighting is completely screwed up because it's a nightclub? That's kind of what we have here. I can turn this off here and watch the the string for the string trimmer just, like, glow like it's radioactive. The green stuff, by the way, that I clean things with also glows. Anything green. Maybe I should get some Diet Mountain Dew. It'll look like mutant ooze from, like, a 90s Ninja Turtles cartoon or something. Okay, so we do need these 2 lights to brighten up the dark spots like before. We don't have enough lights to finish. We're gonna have to go, you know, take another trip to Walmart to get some more. And then at the same time, we need to have a stream mode that dims everything down. I might use the stream mode for something else. Maybe we should just call it Geekhouse Darker Mode or something. We'll figure it out. Either way, it's pretty obvious that just having a lot of blue doesn't give you good-looking light. Oops, don't knock the boxes over. We need them to store all the bulbs in. So, where's the thing for that? There we go. a little bit of regular light mixing in with all this. You know, when I was in high school, that Eiffel 65, I'm blue, do 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 do, that song was was played at all the school dances and stuff, and it's about somebody that lives in a world where everything is blue. I regret to have to admit that I've spent a sizable chunk of my adult life becoming that guy that lives somewhere where everything is blue. Maybe. Well, it's nice that smart lights have evolved to the point where you can have too much of a good thing, because this blatantly is it. Until next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.